Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Jeff, and alongside me, finally, again, is the generation me to my Motor City Machine Gun. It's Max, everyone, Max.
Well, it's no longer at always. It is finally.
It's fine.
I guess I'm okay with that comparison. It could be worse.
Why not? It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. So obviously it's been a while since we got together and talked. We have a lot of exciting things coming up and that we have to get to. One, I want to say congratulations to Mike Miller, who won our first crate giveaway. He'll be taping that. You guys will see it on here. He'll be do his own unboxing, and we'll make it a video, and it'll be on here. So pay attention to that, guys, for the code word. Just send them in. You get raffle tickets, win great shit. But at the end here, because today is, well, you'll be watching this a day after 10/10/20, is the decade anniversary. Oh, I'm old. Decade anniversary of 10/10/10. So we're going to be having a 10-question little thing for Max at the end just to get some laughs and see what he knows about it and if he remembers anything.
I don't know if I was watching at that point, so this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, it was your gap. It's not about getting them right, though. I think it's a lot of things that were funnier points, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see. And we've picked out the 64 songs for our things. I would like to point out that the Johnson's theme song wasn't even on the list of possible songs. I'm quite upset about that.
You know, Max, I'm going to let that one slide because it's been so long. Not really.
I got to get my Johnson's.
You got to get the plug-in.
I got to get the Johnson's plug-in. When they come back and beat the Motor City Machine Guns and become champions, be like, man, Max was right the whole time.
I'd rather you plug them in here than plug them in somewhere else. Hey, no, speech though. Anyways, let's go. Screw it. Let's go right into headlines, and we'll talk more from there. So Max is going to take over per usual. But first, I want to touch on something because I kind of skipped over when he said it because we're laughing about the Johnsons. But we did eliminate your guys' recommendations after a hard process down to 60.
We didn't eliminate your guys' recommendations. We cut the recommendations down to 64.
No, they're all their recommendations.
I was about to say, we eliminated all your guys' recommendations. We picked what we wanted. Screw you guys.
They came up with the draft pool. We eliminated it down to 64. But we'll be having our first Pinfall Classic theme edition coming rather soon. I think we'll start either next week or the week after. But it'll be fun. It's going to be an NCAA tournament style elimination of the best theme songs so we can induct one into our TNAIW Hall of Fame to join AJ Styles as best
X Division champion.
All right. So, Max, without further ado, I'll let you.
So, here we go. Topic number 1. Thoughts on Katie Forbes and RVD leaving?
Yeah, thoughts. Here's where it becomes difficult because I know we talk a lot on here or on the other shows and say one thing, and I don't want it to seem hypocritical or contradictory, but was I happy when he first came in and they did the heel turn and all that stuff? Yeah, I really was. I thought it was a good gimmick for him. He felt rejuvenated, and he felt like he wanted to be there or put a little bit of himself into there. New music. Katie added a lot to the party. But when he went out there, the matches were what you would expect out of a 50-year-old Rob Van Dam. And it is what it is. So at the tail end of this, they had that weird thing with cancel culture. Obviously, that got canceled. And then they came back and tried to grasp onto their original gimmick that they had created. But I was happy to see him there. At the same time, I'm happy to see him go because at this point, who else did they have to work with? Who really was going to elevate him to that match that we would expect out of an old RVD? Or previous RVD. So is it a big loss? No. I hope they find success elsewhere. I'm sure they will. I know he's doing some projects with WWE, but I think at this point where we're bringing so many people in, we already have our veteran and Tommy Dreamer, who also works backstage and helps the young guys. So I'd rather have someone like him who doesn't need the TV spotlight to be that veteran. So this opens a definite segment up for maybe the Rascals getting their treehouse back, or the Good Brothers doing another backstage thing. Like, it doesn't matter. It just opens the door. So I'm not torn up about it.
No, so from an in-ring point, for like an in-ring talent standpoint, I don't think it's a big loss. I think, like you said, he's getting older. When you get guys that are up there, there comes a point where I would just rather watch two young guys go. And even if they're brand new talent, to see what they have, than watch 50-year-old Attitude Era guys go at it. Because it is, unless they're strictly being used to put over younger talent, it just seems kind of like, man, this is, if I want to watch Rob Van Dam, I'm going to go back and watch ECW Rob Van Dam, or I'm going to go back and watch stuff when he first came to Impact to get that exciting high. I do think, though, him staying and just doing the video packages would have been fine. I don't think he ever needs to step into the ring. I think he can just be here's a break from wrestling. Let's give you guys a video package and make people laugh. So I think from that standpoint, I do think it could be a little bit of a loss. But like you said, it opens up the Rascals to do something. It opens up some talent who are going to be there, who maybe aren't going to see as much ring time, but maybe you give them video packages and now they get popular that way. So I don't think it's a huge loss, as long as they can fill those video packages with something that's funny and entertaining.
Yeah, I agree with that standpoint. I just, to touch on your thing, I think you're right. I'd rather see two young guys or two young knockouts who are trying to get that next level.
Yeah.
Get a match in there. Now, as far as us losing them in the vignette or video package point of view, it is a loss there because they are entertaining. You're right. The Impact is more of a variety show than it is just a simple wrestling show. So I agree with you there. I just think because if we're taking him out of the matches, he kind of serves, even though that would be entertaining, less purpose, because now we can give those young people who are in those matches also a video segment.
No, I agree. And as long as you do that, as long as you replace those video segments, with something that's still good, either the Rascals or give it to somebody else, I think it's fine. But I don't just want to see them say, okay, the video segments are gone. Let's just add in another random match just to fill 5 minutes. Like, I'd much rather them have a plan for those segments. So I think as long as you can replace it, I don't think it's a huge loss. But I do still think from that standpoint, it's a loss. Not so much in the ring, though.
I agree there.
Number 2, I realize the order of these things are not, because you have 1, 4, 5, 3, 2, and I'm like, why is number 4 the second one? So number 2, Matt Cardona no longer with AEW. Could you see him making an impact?
Well, first, let me say that whoever Impact has signed, maybe outside the outcome of what happened with Joey Ryan and that stuff, with this management team, they have very few misses on their signings. I've spoken in great detail about Brian Myers taking that next step and finding out something with him, but I still think he was a quality hire. Everyone I've doubted, from Johnny Swinger to Heath, they've proved me wrong. So I don't want to say that my feelings of Zack Ryder and Matt Cardona would carry over, because I don't know what Impact would do with him. But I'm sure it'd be something better than he's ever done. And we'll definitely spotlight his great attributes compared to his less exciting ones. But as far as him as an individual making an impact, no. I could I see him coming there? Sure. I can see anyone coming to Impact now. We got the Good Brothers. We have EC3, who's in and out. We have some great talent. But I just don't know what he would add to the table. I think he fits more in with AEW anyways. That which is to me is that what TNA kind of used to be, that ex mid card WWE guy brand, where you go there and then now you become a star, or you get over that hump, allegedly from a fan's perspective. I don't know what he did there. I think it was a tag match. I really don't know. But I would say that I'm okay with him staying somewhere out of Impact. I don't know how.
No, I understand what you're saying. So here's the thing. If this were, what was it, 2 months ago, 3 months ago that Anderson and Gallows and all them came over?
Slammiversary time.
Yeah, if it was around that time, I'd say awesome. Bring him in with the whole group of them. Because you were bringing over a bunch of people all at once. And I think that, you bring in some guys. The problem is now I think that Impact needs to be, I guess, more selective with who they bring in. So right now it's in terms of size, WWE is still the biggest, then AEW, then Impact. AEW for a while there was literally what?
Domestically.
Yeah. AEW for a while there was literally grabbing any single person that left WWE. Doesn't matter what they did, doesn't matter how good they were grabbing them. So then Impact obviously kind of came in and grabbed Anderson Gallows, Eric Young, EC3, some people who knew people and people who had been there before. They kind of grabbed them. So now what I think you're going to see is, obviously from the AEW standpoint, they've ballooned in talent, and not everybody's going to be able to get a shot. Right. So I think you will see some people leave there. I think with WWE, with their whole social media thing, I could see people who aren't at that top level, and we'll talk more about that later, leaving as well. But I think Impact needs to be careful who they grab. If they are like main event talent and they leave one of those two companies, I think you look to grab them. If they are mid-card and below talent, I would much rather see them look for, this young guy who was only in NXT's or even the Performance Center was released. Let's grab him and develop him, as opposed to grabbing, Matt Cardona, who we've seen him forever. So I think that if it kind of comes into those, I'd much rather see them grab younger guys that are less established, that we can then say, hey, let's give this person an actual chance, than a guy who's been around for 10 years. It feels like 10 years.
And where we already feel like we've seen.
Yeah, we've seen him. We know what he can do. Could he be better than Impact than he was in AEW and WWE? Sure. I'm sure he could, because Christian is a great example of someone who looked to never be able to get over the hump and then came to TNA, and you're like, oh my God, at least in my opinion, this guy's main event material. Sure. Some other guys have done the same thing. So I think he would flourish more in Impact, like you said, but I don't think there's a reason to bring him in outside of you saying, hey, we're just trying to fill our mid card, we're just going to job you out. Like,
yeah, and to your point on the last thing as well, on the RVD point of view, or topic, excuse me, we have people, because we have these RVDs, or had these RVDs and all these, bloated top of the roster, that aren't getting that time, valuable time. I mean, we finally are seeing triple XL, triple XL. Yeah. We're seeing them, step up. We're not seeing much of the Rascals yet. So we're, and I keep going back to them because I feel like they're one of the most deprived. You got Falabad dropping down. You got the Deaners that barely get in. So there's a lot of talent that deserve a chance before, I think, and especially with people leaving like RVD and Joey Ryan. And so these spots are opening and giving more time to people who probably deserve it more than bringing in another ex-WWE guy. Now, to your credit, yes, I believe that he'd probably be better in Impact, because Heath, I thought, would be a horrible signing. And had he gone to AEW, I imagine, and that's not a slight on them, that it would be much like what they did with Rusev, which was, in my opinion, not that good. I mean, they have people over there that, what happened to Sean Spears? Ty Dillinger, he's still there? It's like he's like 0-10.
Maybe, yeah. I'll Google his record real quick.
Either way, the point being is, could he be better in Impact? Yes, but to your credit, being selective now is more important than just bringing a guy over because of name. Because, okay, maybe even if people like him, and a lot of people like him, how many of those are going to tune in just to see Matt Cardona? When you can definitely use that money to keep people who want to be there. Sami Callihan, even though his contract's coming up, has been kind of a side note lately. And that's a big dude. Like, that's a big star to me.
Yeah.
Or it could be on top. Same with the North. We don't know if they're leaving or coming or going. But I'd rather lock up those people and reward the guys who've been waving the company banner for quite a while than bring in another guy and see if it works.
I agree.
If they already have a tie-in, if it's a Bobby Roode, a James Storm, something of that nature, cool. But to create a new narrative and character and storyline for this guy to come over, I just don't think it's worth it. But that's nothing against him. I hope he thrives and stays in AEW and does well. And I know he has obviously the friendship, Brian Myers, the podcast with them, and the toy YouTube or whatever they do. I just don't see it being worth taking away. I think that's a better way to look at it. It's nothing against him. It's just not worth the money or time you're taking away from people who have busted their ass on the Impact roster.
Correct. No, and I agree with that completely. Shawn Spears is so much better than you would assume. His single record in 2020 is 13-2. I don't know when he's 13-2. He has a better singles record than Chris Jericho.
Okay.
His tag record is 1-6. His overall 2020 record is 14-8. Even with him being 14-8 in 2020, his career record is 19-13.
Okay. So he was sucking in 2019.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't watch anything about him, but I kind of feel like, unfortunately, him and McIntyre are kind of similar thing. They're just kind of guys. Like, yeah, like if you're just kind of guys and you're ex TNA guys, I'm okay. Like Bobby Roode and stuff, I'm okay with bringing you back. But if you're just a guy who has no connection to the show, I think you can go past.
I'm with you there because it's this. I think it sums it up completely what you said, which is the spots are very limited now. So you have to be very particular in who you bring in.
So number 3, and kind of a similar topic, Heath reveals several WWE talent want to join Impact once their contracts are up. Who are some that you think might show up?
I think we could talk about this one for hours, but I will say in my heart of hearts, I still believe AJ will come back. I think the stars have aligned too much. And I won't get into my conspiracy theory on Paul Heyman and the Good Brothers and Don Callis and all that. But I will say sooner rather than later, we'll see AJ. But if we take him out of the conversation, in a reasonable, who's talking to Heath about coming over? I mean, this side of Joe Henning, who he keeps pushing, who already is released. If we're talking about specifically, says what? Still in WWE?
Yes, when their contracts are up.
I mean, you would have to assume that a Ziggler or a Kevin Owens or a Sami Zayn to a lesser extent aren't happy. I mean, Finn. I mean, I think he's another one who's in NXT now, sure, but I mean, this guy is a star and he's on NXT.
So I actually don't think it's going to be in the NXT guys because I feel like realistically, NXT is a better place to be than the main roster because you get to do more. Your character gets to develop more. So I could actually see the people in NXT being like, I'm fine. Like I could honestly,
but they don't get the control of, do we stay in NXT or get called up by?
Correct. Yeah. Now, if they get called up, I can see them. So, but as I think the NXT people may be fine. The people I could see leaving, I definitely think Kevin Owens is a possibility. I could see someone like Sami Zayn. I think you may want to look at some of their roster. People like Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, who Peyton Royce was apparently supposed to get a push, and then according to an article I read, Vince McMahon forgot it was going to happen or forgot about her, and then it just kind of ended. Like they split up the Iconics that were going to push, and then they were like, "Yeah, now she's wrestling on main event." So I could see some of the women who are just aren't becoming anything. I could see that's really where I could see it. I think Dolph Ziggler, maybe someone like Drew Gulak. I don't even know if he's even still in WWE. He's on the page. Yeah, I mean that's where I could see some guys who were being very free or like infrequently used.
Yeah.
And some of the women who may feel like Impact is a better destination for them than WWE or AEW, who really.
The women's part's a great mention, because I mean, there's people you have to figure like Mickie James, who does have a connection to TNA Impact, and to my knowledge and what I see is disrespected pretty frequently in WWE. Maybe all of the wrestlers under the masks and Retribution. I don't know who could be who could be. I think to speculate is more fantasy than reality, because obviously things change. Could he be saying that just to put Impact over? Maybe. At the same time, is it hard to believe that a Ziggler, who always teases is leaving, wants to leave? No. Could it be Buddy Murphy, Max?
But I was just looking at him. I was like, maybe Buddy Murphy leaves and becomes Impact champion. Clearly has talent for it.
He does have the talent. Yeah, no, I can see a lot of people like that that just, you're right, are getting lost in the shuffle. I mean, if it's true that, pushes for people that are supposedly he's in love with are forgotten about, how does the person on, main event feel?
Yeah. Well, that's where she is now. Peyton Royce is on main event.
Right. So I agree with you there. I think time will tell. Once again, I think you have to be selective, because yes, they have this WWE rub, but I don't think it's as big as it used to be, in the sense of WWE being the place to be. So I don't think just because you've been to WWE makes you a hot commodity anymore. Some of it can actually look down upon that. I hope that we don't get to a place like that for professional wrestling's sake, but who is Heath Slater friends with? Bo Dallas, maybe? I don't know.
Remember, 3MB, we could be getting Jinder.
I don't know, man. I just don't see anyone, and taking away Heath's friendship, let's put that aside, just in general, anyone there on that roster that would make a huge impact that would want to leave for, let's be honest, the money they can offer is going to be second to none. WWE always offer more money. They'll offer a bigger platform. No matter what we say, globally, we are second, but they are definitely one. And then you have AEW, who's growing globally, but not, and is domestically number 2 right now. So platform-wise, WWE is still a place to be. So do these people of stature leave that money and that notoriety behind to take a chance on creativity and artistic ability? That's the dilemma. So I don't think Dolph will ever leave. I think he's too busy complaining about everything.
Yeah, I think he's just locked in. I think he understands that
he knows where
he's set. So I could see AJ coming over.
Yeah, AJ's, I think, my number 1. I still honestly believe there's a chance for Finn. I don't think the AEW luster anymore is there as much as we thought it was. I would see a Steen going there more than, or Owens going there more than Impact, but I think it's all debatable. And I guess that's what we're doing. That's the point.
We'll see. Yeah, I think you look at the women's roster possibly. And I just think some of those guys who just aren't doing anything may
Yeah.
feel like it's a better spot.
Okay, outside of something that can, let's end it off on there before we move to the next one. Besides AJ and out of that whole roster that you could see saying, you know what, when my contract's done, I want to go elsewhere. So we're not talking Randy Orton here and those.
So I could,
who's the big one that you think?
So I don't think it's one. I think it could possibly be the New Day, simply because if Vince limits what you're allowed to do online, and with Xavier Woods obviously doing, they have a podcast, he does a lot of online stuff. If they start limiting that and saying, hey, you can't do this or you can't profit from this on your own, I could see them leaving, because I think those three as personalities, you could go to AEW or Impact, do your online presence, and be huge, especially with what the world is coming today. I think at least, maybe not all three of them, but at least Xavier Woods, because of his presence there, I could see him potentially leaving, especially if WWE is dumb enough to break them up somehow.
I don't know. Did that happen on the draft? I
don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't watch it. There are apparently Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Now this could be an old picture. I don't know, but it says that they're SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Well, I'm not too familiar with the product, but I will say this: I didn't really think about that. And obviously, Xavier has ties to the former TNA Impact, so possibility. And I think that's a huge get if they get them. It's hard for me to fathom them not going to AEW, where they already have that built-in Elite versus New Day bullshit that they talk so much about. But at the same time, I like to think that the New Day has a different personality than what is AEW has. I think they are, and that's not a slight. It's just I feel like they have more of an Impact vibe, which is creativity, stuff outside of wrestling, building their own brand. And I think in creatively, I think they're just drooling at the chance to show what they can actually do.
And yes, they split them up. Xavier Woods and Kofi went to Raw, and Big E is on SmackDown. So they've split up the New Day. And I mean, if you're going to split them up, if you're going to now, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if you just see Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods show up on SmackDown and Big E show up on Raw like nothing ever happened. But I think that if you're going to limit their ability outside of WWE to make money, and then they get, if you don't keep them happy, I could see them saying, hey, we can make just as much money on our own as we could here. We're out.
Let's also bring in to wrap that up the signing of the Good Brothers. No one really, besides you, Max, I have to give you predicted that they would choose Impact over anywhere else. Now, you could say what it is about why they did, but let's look at what they're doing outside of that. They're on Talkin' Chop-A-Mania #2 now, coming out on Fight through Impact, but their own brand. They have their own podcast. They have their own clothing line. They have their own wrestling promotion out here. They are doing so much with under the Impact umbrella, but also outside it, because Impact allows it and is allowing them to have creative freedom in certain aspects of the game. So I'd like to think that Kofi and Xavier and company, or Consequences, let me call them that, would see that the opportunity in Impact might be better long run.
I also feel like the New Day would be massive in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just feel like if you could, they would be huge stars in Japan. So
I agree.
Then they can work in New Japan if they come to Impact. All right, so number 4, Ethan Page becomes a free agent at the end of 2020, but is not eager to leave Impact. Thoughts?
I didn't know he was not eager. That's a good sign. I have to read up on the dirts there, but I'm guessing Craig would know more than I. So, wow. Okay, so prior we had talked about, I think it was when Craig and I did the show, and we talked exclusively how big of a loss it would be to have Ethan Page leave. And, I think more than Brian Cage or Johnny Impact or anyone who was previously left, Austin Aries, I think that would be a bigger loss. Now, name value wise, maybe not, but hear me out on that. It's Ethan Page brings more to the table than just being a wrestler on the show in a tag team, the greatest tag team. Let me not, a tag team in champions in history. There we go. So he brings more than just that, and in what inside those four in the squared circle. So yeah, he has his podcast or his blog and all that stuff that he does outside of there. But the key to me with this is, if they keep him, it changes and corrects the narrative that has been said with Impact. The only slight I have, at least, with them, and we've talked about in great detail on the show for quite a while with this new regime, is we don't lock in our guys. We're recycling through them because we're giving new people opportunities, growing them, and we had to do that. It just because the budget was what it was. But now that we're on Access TV, and now that there's the Impact Plus, and there's all these different other YouTube, I think makes I think it was 4 million a month or something crazy like that. So I think that's what it was, or a year, whatever. Either way, they're bringing all this revenue, additional revenue in. They're bringing in great talent. This is the time to show people that, especially with Sami Callihan too. I know this isn't about him, but let's lock in the people who got us to this point. We wouldn't have the Good Brothers if it wasn't for the North and Sami busting their ass for the past 2 years and making this company better and digging it out of the hole that it was. We wouldn't be in the place we are if those people didn't step up and not be shy about waving the TNA Impact banner. So this is the time, I think, to send the message to your locker room that we value the work you do. And if that means overpaying, depending on what a bidding war happens for someone like an Ethan Page, you have to do it. It's really one of those moments where you have to put up or shut up, because it's going to be hard for the other wrestlers to take it seriously anymore when they know that when their contract is up, they might just be said, thank you for your service and goodbye. So I think it plays a larger part in that narrative than it does him specifically as a wrestler or as an individual. But he's a great talent either way. So
yeah. So I don't think previously, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think they ever said goodbye to anybody. I think what happened was when their contract was up, other companies were saying, hey, I'm going to give you X amount. And Impact was like, cool, we can't match that. Have a nice day. So I think that was probably the more likely scenario. But I do think, I agree with you that Impact can now, if not match it, at least give something competitive to keep them. But I think the big thing here is the fact that he says he wants to stay. Because before, I feel like a lot of people Impact would bring them up, and then when their contract was up, like, cool, I want to go to WWE, I want to go to AEW, because those are the big places. Getting people to say, I want to stay here, my contract's up, I want to renegotiate my contract, I want to re-sign with Impact for X amount more years, that's the big thing to me, because that shows that, one, they're clearly offering competitive salaries. If I can make $6 million a year, I'm not going to stay at some place who's only offering me $40,000. I don't care how much I like it. So I think their salaries have to be competitive. But two, it just shows that the wrestlers there and the people involved in Impact believe in the Impact product.
Right.
Similar thing. If you're paying me $1 million a year to work at Kmart, but Walmart's offering me $800,000, well, I know there's a future at Walmart where Kmart's about to be bankrupt in 3 weeks, so I'm going to take – so it's that kind of a thing too. I think where previously you saw people be like, hey, I've got to go to WWE or New Japan or ROH because I don't know if Impact's going to be around in a year. So why would I stay here and miss my opportunity to go to these places? So I think that the fact that he wants to stay shows that Impact, if not growing, is at least at a much more stable point now than it was in the past. And I think that's a huge thing for both keeping talent and acquiring big name talent is stability.
That's a great point, Max. You're on fire, Max.
I know.
No, you're right. And that's another, I forget, because yes, I know times were rocky, but at the same time, I never felt like it was going anywhere. Now, maybe that's I was being naive or wishful thinking, But that is the narrative that was out there, that they're not going to last another week. Even if they had millions in the bank, they weren't going to last. They didn't have the money. They didn't. So you're right in that aspect. Did the Good Brothers and EY and EC3 and Diana and all those prove that Impact has the money and ability to allure and bring people in? Yes. But now is the key is to keep them to stay. Because
Correct.
Keeping them to stay says exactly what you said, which is, oh, wow, backstage, which none of us know about, is exactly what we think it is, which is a bunch of guys and women who want to make this company the best it can be and believe in the creative aspect that Impact offers. And I'd also like to think, even though Cody has mentioned multiple times, Cody Rhodes has mentioned multiple times that Ethan Page is someone he would want on board, I'd like to think two different things. One, AEW wouldn't break the bank on Ethan Page. Not that he wouldn't deserve it in time or doesn't deserve it now, but it just I don't see in this time frame where they're bringing in people but have stopped hiring, like a weird, because of Corona and whatever other reason, they're bloated roster. Wouldn't be throwing money like that, so Impact has a chance to match. But also, too, that Ethan Page is smart, which he is, enough to see that, okay, well, I was having pretty cool feud with LAX. They left, and what are they doing? We were having, Lucha Brothers were here, and they were killing it with LAX and OV and stuff. Where are they? What are they doing? So I hope the creative process is more alluring to Ethan Page than just the money or the coolness of AEW that is still there. But at the same time, he's a businessman and he has a kid, and you got to take care of your family. So
yeah,
we'll see. Either way, I hold nothing against him, but I think it'd be a huge loss if he leaves. But it is cool that I didn't know that. I'll have to look more into that. If he said that he has no rush to leave, I'd be more than happy to have him locked up for the next decade.
No, I agree. So number 5, The Rock to virtually appear on Impact to induct Shamrock. Can this year get any crazier?
Could it get any crazier? Yes. I don't want to jinx it because this world is nuts right now. And 2020 is it's ironic that a number that means seeing clearly, that all of this shit is going on. But as far as wrestling goes, you always want to expect the unexpected, but to see Ken Shamrock write that tweet and then The Rock pretty quickly respond and say, yeah, I'm down, cool, just give me a second the weekend to get it, shows one, that the wrestling landscape has changed, right? Because you had to be affiliated. If you had WWE affiliation and you went out and did outside something, say like Bret Hart, for instance, with the AEW thing, if he said, hey, I want to come back for a Raw, they'd probably have him. Back in the day, would have that happened?
No.
I mean, Vicky Guerrero is already uninvited for being on AEW, which is a shame. So I think it depends on your stature, but for The Rock to have so much pull that he could do whatever the hell he wants, it's not unexpected. And he would be welcomed back with open arms at any time on WWE. It's not like he's coming out there and wrestling or coming in front of the crowd or TV screen or camera.
Even if he did, still have The Rock back.
Yeah. But with that being said, did I ever expect The Rock to come on my Impact Television, let alone a Bound for Glory? No. Just seeing him there is going to be surreal and weird. But I'm going to chalk it up to just like a cameo. He's just filming a cameo and it's going to be on there. But it's pretty dope. I can't lie. I mean, to think that The Rock would ever be even seen around anything TNA blows my mind, let alone him being here in 2020, welcoming Ken Shamrock to the TNA Hall of Fame. It's just weird, but it's an exciting way.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. I think it does show the star power of The Rock, because he is basically at the point where he doesn't give a crap what WWE says. He is vastly outgrown The Rock, like from WWE persona, and he is now Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
He does what he wants. So I think that's really cool that he has the ability to do that, and that he chose to, because I'm sure there are some guys who even still may have gotten to that point who wouldn't be willing to do that. So I think that's great of him that he's able to do it. In terms of, can it get any crazier? Hopefully only crazier in a good way. It obviously could get crazier in a bad way, but let's not hope for that. Maybe we'll get lucky, and while he's in the middle of introducing Shamrock, Austin will run in on the screen and stunner him and then finish introduction. That would be funny. But I highly doubt it's going to. But no, I mean, I think it's awesome that it's happening. It also makes you wonder, is this something that maybe Vince was okay with from the start and doesn't care? Because I mean, we'll see. But I definitely think it's a really cool thing. I think it's a cool thing for Shamrock. Maybe his sister Ryan Shamrock, was that her name? Oh, yeah. His fake sister. Maybe she'll show up too. I don't even know what happened to her, but that would be funny.
She was in the TNA for a hot second.
Was she?
A few episodes back in the day. Yeah, no, it'll also be cool, and this isn't a political statement. Please don't, and no one take this as that. But WWE has had former presidents on. They've had Trump, and I'm sure they've had other ones I don't really know. But Impact will have, I'm telling you, The Rock will be president one day, and we will look back and say, he was on Impact. He was on Impact.
I'm sure that's what people will say. The Rock from Impact Wrestling. Yeah, that's where he's from, is Impact.
Hey, man, these kids now, whatever happened in the last 10 minutes is what's...
Not from WWE, The Rock. Not from Fast and the Furious, but Rock from Impact.
Wrestling. I don't know. Either way, it's going to pop me. I'm excited to watch Bound for Glory, just because that's bad shit craziness. I mean, this side of Austin doing a stunt around. I mean, I don't know what else can happen, but I'm just, not surprised anymore by anything happening. Like when I saw it, like I was just like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then you look at it and you're like, wait, that's Dwayne Johnson. That's, you know what I mean? It's bigger than just someone doing a video. So he's not getting his entrance music. He's not going to wrestle a match. It's not going to be a thing. But it's damn cool. It reminds me of like when Christian came back to do that anniversary thing. So, but this one seemed like The Rock wanted to be part of it compared to Christian that time. Oh man. Anything else you want to add to that before we?
That's it. I'm wondering if he's going to be The Rock when he introduces him, or if he's just going to be just normal Dwayne Johnson, or if he's going to come in and do like the whole spiel from The Rock.
Oh, I'll be like, hey, DJ here.
Yeah, like he'll just be like, hi, this is Dwayne Johnson. I just want to introduce my friend. Or if he's going to go into like the whole Rock, where he just like, that would be funny to see him be The Rock and interact with people from Impact.
Never say never, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, I feel like it's more going to be him holding his camera like this, sweating. Hey, man.
Yes, just got done with the workout at 4:30 in the morning. Like, what? Check out the XFL. Coming back on 2020.
Speaking of craziness. All right, that was fun. We're going to take a break. Enjoy our commercial, 2-minute commercial of that we just put out. There's a spoof. You guys will watch it. Enjoy. And we'll be back with a little fun segment to get a laugh.
Why, hello there. Thank you for playing our introductory video. No matter if you found us through Twitter, Facebook, or any other platform, we are most happy to have you. Who am I? Well, I'm Mr. DNA of TNAIW, that is. And I'll be your tour guide today. But first, more about me. I enjoy candlelit dinners, dusty finishes, and apparently stalling. That's rather rude, don't you think? A simple sign would have sufficed.
Welcome to the TNAIW channel.
Oh, right. Let's start the tour. Every other Sunday, Jeff and Max unbiasedly discuss the hottest headlines of Impact. With a fun segment to end each show, this is Can't Miss Nonsense. Every Thursday, What Went Down dissects Tuesday's Impact on AXS TV. Each episode, Mr. Impact Blog, Craig, hosts a guest on his honest, opinionated review show. And as featured on What Went Down, the TNAIW Power Rankings spotlight the top 10 wrestlers of the week as voted by the ranking committee. Don't like the results? Join and vote. Give it your thumbs up, thumbs down. Light TNA Jams is a monthly celebration of Impact themes, new and old. Kristen, Jeff, and their boy Blue host this fun, irreverent radio show full of laughs, useless facts, and trivia. Ooh, look. It's the Rascals in their natural habitat. Speaking of useless facts and trivia, team up with Jeff to take on Quizmaster Craig on the Hard 10 game show. Win and you'll receive amazing prizes such as the TNA DVD board game featured on our hit unboxing show, This Old Wrestling. Well, sadly, it looks like we've reached the end of our tour. We hope you continue to explore our channel and enjoy all the nonsense that accompanies it. All right. Goodbye now.
All right, and we're back. And so it's been a while since we played a game together. It's been a while since we did a show together. So I just wanted to make something up to celebrate 10-10-10, the anniversary of that. And then make up some stupid questions and see if you guys can get them, see if Max can get them. Max's eyes need to be focused here so he's not cheating.
Yeah, he doesn't want me to cheat. I'm like 99% sure I didn't even watch on 10-10-10. So this is going to be really bad.
It doesn't matter. They're fun questions. So,
but if things go wrong, I'm just going to guess AJ Styles and hope that that's the correct answer.
It's probably wrong, but let's see. Okay.
Or Jeff Jarrett.
Possible answer. Let's see.
All
right. So number one. Ready?
Yes.
In the opening match, Generation Me challenged the Motor City Machine Guns for that tag team titles. What are Generation Me's first names?
So, oh man, one of them's Max. Or wait, is that his own name?
It is, yeah.
It's Max and what? I can't remember what their fucking last names were.
Come on, look over here, Max.
I'm looking. I'm not. I'm trying to think. It's Max and
what are their names now?
I can't remember the Young Bucks' real names. They're tards. I don't remember them.
Well, what's their tag team name?
It's the Young Bucks. So it's Max. I want to say it was like Max Buck and something Buck. Like I know that their last names were the Young Buck. Like were Bucks, but it's not. Okay. It's not Nick and Josh. Is that their real names now? Is it Nick and Josh?
Oh, but you're close on that one. It's Max.
Max.
Yay, Buck.
All right, so not John, because that sounds stupid. Jacob sounds tooly enough, but probably isn't right.
This name for a wrestler. That's a J.
Jerry?
Pretty close. Jeremy.
Jeremy Buck. Oh, okay.
Max and Jeremy. 50%.
I knew it was Max. I knew it was Buck. But I couldn't remember what the other ones was. Which one was the one that actually ended up was the X Division? Or no, when they split, because they split at one point. Was it Max was the one that got this like the mini singles push?
Yeah, Max got the challenged for the X Division title.
So
all right, number 2. 6 people were on the promotional poster for this Bound for Glory. Okay. One of which had never to that point been in WWE. So obviously a clear narrative of what Hogan was bringing on here. Who was the one person not in WWE?
Was it Sting? I feel like he would have been on the poster, but I don't think he was on WWE at that point because I think he went from WCW right there. So obviously, AJ Styles, even if he was on the poster, I think technically would have been in WWE because I think he wrestled one match, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Jarrett obviously was in WWE. Angle obviously was in WWE.
How do you know
Hardy...
these guys promotional picture?
What?
How do you know these guys are the promotional picture?
I'm trying to think of people that were there. Hardy was obviously in WWE. Both Hardys would have been in WWE. Who were their main events? So if Booker T was there, he would have been in WWE.
It was Sting.
It was Sting? Okay.
All right.
I was trying to think of the big name guys that were there at that time. And I was like, well, it can't be Christian because I'm trying to think of people who weren't there.
All right. EV 2.0 versus Fortune happened in a lethal lockdown match. Okay. AJ, Rude, Storm, and Kazarian were joined by this one member who TNA kept trying to stick with them but didn't fit. Who was that member? Fortune 5.
So you said who were the Fortune members again? So it was Dan.
Ric Flair,
AJ?
obviously. AJ,
Rude,
Storm, Kazarian, and
Daniels, but he wasn't part. Wasn't he just part of them normally?
Later. But
Okay.
There's one person in this match that was felt forced.
I'm going to go with Matt Morgan because I feel like he's someone that Hogan would have pushed, and he shouldn't have been anywhere near any main event.
Matt Morgan.
There you go.
All right.
So, if I base my interest off the people that you hate, a lot of times this may be possible.
I don't hate Matt Morgan.
You just don't think he deserved any push that he got.
You know, I was watching Twitch last night, and I looked back on it, and he had the look, like even with his lifts on, you knew he was wearing lifts, but he looked the part, and maybe it was a missed opportunity for him to belt, but we have to remember, like, there was Angle and Sting and AJ and all these people that deserved Joe. It's just a hard time, man.
They needed a solid non-X Division mid-card title for him.
Yeah, they did to elevate him. And I remember him versus Angle, and it just wasn't. He's all right, and it was just that back tattoo that really hurt him. I say two things. If Matt Morgan didn't have the back tattoo, and Kazarian cut his hair much earlier in his career, he probably would have been champions.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, here we go. So number 4, after he got murdered and had to vacate his World Heavyweight Championship, RVD returned, but not to fight for his vacant championship. Who did he challenge at Bound for Glory?
That I have no idea. Is this when he knocked Abyss's teeth out, or was that before?
I don't know.
Or after?
Is that your answer, though?
I'll go with Abyss.
You're right. He challenged him to a monster's ball after getting murdered by Janice, but didn't want to go for his vacated title that was still up for grabs.
Hey, see?
All right. Next up.
The best part is I came in after this happened, but a lot of these are things that I remember you and James talking about multiple times, so some of it does work for me.
That's why I figured you get this. Number 5.
And is this the match that he knocked out Abyss's teeth?
I don't know. I can't remember. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense because it's just a receipt for what he did to him. I was like, wait, he didn't really kill him with Jan. This sucks at kicking. All right. What did Hogan give Abyss to make Abyss feel like a god of wrestling? He gave him something, and he used it was a big thing for a while.
So let's see. What things does Hogan have? It could have been one of his boas.
Okay.
Could have been his T-shirt or his thing that covered his bald spot, his bandana. I'm going with the bandana.
Oh. The thing that gave Hogan, allegedly, his godlike wrestling power was his WWE Hall of Fame ring. And he gave it to him. Biz put it on and he felt like he had power.
All right.
I like this shit. I guess you can, but
Yeah, I don't know.
all right. So there were 8 matches on the Bound for Glory card. How many of those 8 matches went over 10 minutes? This is the biggest pay-per-view of the year. We have 8 matches.
Right.
How many?
So 8 matches. The pay-per-view was probably 3 hours long.
Correct.
So that's 180 minutes. My math right there? 180 minutes. 3.
3 matches were over 10?
3 matches were over 10 minutes.
You're on the right side, but it was 4.
4. Ah, okay.
Includes or doesn't include an 8-minute X Division title match.
Oh, I figured that. So hold on. Name me the matches. I'll tell you if they were or not, based off my thought process.
First one, which was Shelley and Sabin versus the Tag Team Championship match.
That probably wasn't over 8 minutes. Or sorry, over 10 minutes. It might have just made it, but not by much.
Not sure. I'll have to look that one up. 2 was the Knockouts 4-way.
There's no way in hell that was over 10 minutes long.
5.5 minutes.
There you go.
The X Division match, Doug Williams and
Yeah, you just said that one wasn't.
That wasn't. Then we had Lethal Lockdown.
That probably was.
It was. The main event was the triple for the vacated title.
Hopefully that was.
I think like only 18 or 12 minutes, something crazy.
Okay.
Then Ink versus Eric Young and Orlando Jordan.
That probably wasn't even a minute and a half long. That probably looked like an old Divas match that the entrances are longer than the match itself.
It was a joke. It was a joke. We had the handicap match of Pope, Nash, Sting versus Jarrett and Samoa Joe.
That probably wasn't over 10 minutes. Jarrett was in it? It probably was.
Possible.
Probably was.
Or I'm missing, but I don't know what it is.
The Monsters Ball match probably was it.
Monsters Ball.
Yeah, so that's pretty bad though. Okay. 8 matches.
8 matches, 3 hours, less than 100 minutes of wrestling.
That's insane.
All right. So at the end of the night, they revealed who they were. There was a total of 5 people in the ring. Who were they?
I have no fucking. I'm gonna go with Sting, Angle. Oh wait, hold on. Was Jeff Hardy one of them?
It was.
So I'm gonna get rid of the Sting and Angle. I am gonna go with Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
I feel like it could be what the fuck is his name? Rick Flair.
Okay.
Hogan might have been in there.
Okay.
I got no other clue who the other ones were.
All right, well, you got 2 of the 3. So,
okay.
Or 2 out of those are correct. So eventually, Fortune did join them, and it was horrible. But they was immortal, and it was
okay.
At the end of the night, it was Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan turning heel, Jeff Hardy turning into the Antichrist of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Abyss and Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett is one I could have guessed.
They make so much sense all together. Yeah.
I mean, so Jeff Jarrett, Hogan, Bischoff, and Jeff Hardy turning, I could all say I could see those 4.
Because ex-WWE guys.
Abyss makes no sense.
It does not. The whole thing made no sense. All right. Next is 8. Which future X Division champion made his pay-per-view debut attacking Jay Lethal after his victory because he was disgraced to his state?
It'd help if I knew where the hell Jay Lethal was from.
Elizabethtown. I won't give you the state, but
still not going to matter because I wouldn't know where the hell anybody else was from. So,
it plays a big part. Think about someone who talks about their state.
So it's a former X Division champion.
Yep. He became an X Division champion. He became a tag team champion.
I'm trying to think of rednecks.
You think
I feel like
Jay
he'd be down. I feel like Jay Lethal maybe from the South. I don't know.
Jay Lethal's from New Jersey, homie.
New Jersey. All right. Still could be redneck. There's rednecks wherever you go in this country. They don't have to be from the South. And normally the rednecks are the ones who talk about their state. Who is from New Jersey? Robbie E?
Yeah, Robbie and Cookie.
Okay.
Robbie and Cookie.
I was trying to think. I was like, who's from New Jersey that I could think
This
of?
is around the time where Hogan tried turning the X Division title into like more of
a comedy.
Any wrestler, like a wrestler could wear it, not just X Division.
Oh yeah, this when did Abyss win? Abyss didn't win it until
Hogan era.
I know it was a Hogan era, but I didn't think it was that. It wasn't right around. I thought it was later.
Which tag team? This is number 9. Which tag team announced their retirement at Bound for Glory? 10-10-10.
Are they still retired?
As a tag team.
They are as a tag team. Okay then. Because I was gonna say Motor City, but I don't think that they would have.
Their last match, they wanted to challenge Motor City for the tag title.
Inc. Or well, obviously not Generation Me, Inc. But they should be retired as a tag team. I'll go with Inc. Who cares? No, it couldn't have been because I watched after 10-10 and they were there. Or was it just what's his face by himself with the Book of Dilly Gaff? No, it couldn't have been. It had to have been after.
Well, we just got a life lesson in Inc. So that's nice.
I know.
Team
I was going to say the Dudley Boys, but those motherfuckers clearly aren't retired. They've been back forever. How are you going to retire in 2010 and you're still wrestling?
Well, they didn't get back together till Aces and Eights, I believe. So, right? Yeah. All right, last one. This is the most important one. I think you could figure this one out. Brian Kendrick was not in any match advertised. Okay. Where was Brian Kendrick? He does appear. Where was Brian Kendrick?
Probably high in the background, walking through the lobby.
He was high.
Was he above was he in the rafters like Sting?
He was sleeping on the top of the lethal lockdown cage.
Oh.
Under a blanket or some shit.
Right, there you go. That's make that Young Bucks money. I'm on the show. You gotta pay me.
Jesus. All right, well there was our 10-10-10 stupid questions just to get a good little chuckle out of us. So yeah, a lot has changed in the 10 years since then. Very much looking forward to Bound for Glory. 10/24/20 is what it will be. We'll be watching. I hope you'll be watching with me. We will be having we've been putting out the little teasers that everyone's been loving, which are for the Is Talking Bound for Glory. That will be happening on the 22nd, where a bunch of your favorite podcasts are getting together on our channel to talk about Bound for Glory. I'll be moderating it. It'll be a great time. Look out for more of those really cool announcements. And anything else you got, Max, before we see you in 3 more weeks?
I do have a question. What's that black there?
What's that?
Look down to your side. Look down to your left, other side, other way. What is that? Oh, is that your microphone? Yeah.
It's blue.
It's blue? Oh, okay. It looks black to me. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was a football helmet. Like, I thought you had like a blacked out Miami Dolphins football helmet sitting on your couch, ready to watch the game.
Dolphins don't have blacked out helmets. They have blacked out television.
That's true.
Different, Max.
I wasn't sure what it was.
It's fun talking, Max, as always. Everyone look out for the Is Talking announcements, as I said. Go on, subscribe to us if you haven't. Like all these Jimmy Jams that we got going on. A lot more exciting stuff to go coming forward. Another TNA Jams coming. Another unboxing coming. And yeah, good times. So we'll see you guys next time. Be prepared for, I think we'll have 1 more episode before Bound for Glory, or is it 2?
You said Bound for Glory is what day? The 24th.
Sunday the 24th.
We will have no more episodes.
We'll have 1 more.
You said Sunday, October 24th.
Yeah, today is only the 11th.
It's the 11th, so next weekend is the 18th. and then the 25th.
Oh shit! We do them on the Sundays.
We do them every 2 weeks. So we will put out a post Bound for Glory episode.
I like that even better. Okay, so it was fun. We'll look forward to Bound for Glory and a lot more to talk about that. You also hear from us obviously on Twitter and on the Is Talking thing that I'll make Max be part of. So, all right. See you later, guys.
Later, guys.